guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking all about my fall palettes. I want to do a video featuring all my palettes that I think would be good for fall. Now that we're rolling into the cooler months, we're getting close to fall, and I want to talk about those palettes as well as show you some palettes that if you might have in your collection that I know are discontinued. FYI, I'm featuring things that I have in my collection, even if they are discontinued, just in case you guys have them. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I hope you guys can find the time to hit the like button, subscribe down below. I know I do have a lot of new followers, so I'm really happy about that. Thank you guys so much for your beautiful comments, for liking my videos and watching my content. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. I have some palettes here, like I said, that might not be available anymore, so we'll be talking about those first, that I think are no longer available. So let's just go ahead and get into those. All right, so the first one that I have is, I'm not sure, maybe you can find it in the drugstore because this is where I found it. This is the Ace of Shades from Soap and Glory. It's a little quad. It's called Feel the Heat. I think it's like intended to be like a summer palette, but this just gives it like pumpkin spice vibes, similar to the look that, like the color of my shirt and everything that I'm going with today. This is a quad, a very beautiful quad, a very nice formulation. I think this is really easy to work with, especially if you're like a beginner in shadows. I think this would be a really nice palette to go with. Here for the 4 shades here swatched on my hand. They're not perfect swatches, but again, swatches do not reflect 100% what these shades perform like on the lids. So this is a little quad from Soap and Glory. I find some of these are available at Target. I found this one actually, I think at Ross for like $2. It wasn't beautifully packaged, it wasn't open or anything, it had like all the tape and everything, so I'm really happy I found this one. I do like this for like everyday glam, like if I just do a simple look, even something like this. I do have like a palette that I will be showing you guys that I have in my eyes, but this is a beautiful quad. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and continue here to talk about the next palette. The next palette was a 2019 release from last year. This is the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. This is a super pretty warm tone, like it has a little bit of those pop of purples. Some of these shimmers are super beautiful. I'll go ahead and swatch some of the shades here for you guys, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I'll go ahead and swatch them right here. Very beautiful, very nice and shimmery shades. Some of these I believe are also like those purpley oranges, especially this duochrome is super pretty. This one right here, it's like a shift of purple and orange, super pretty. And then this orange purple shimmer, so good. And here you can see the shade, it's called Hot Toddy. It's like a duochrome of orange and purple. Very pretty color. So again, that's the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. Again, so like I said, the reason I'm showing these first is because I don't think these are available, but if you do have these in your collection, these would be the perfect palettes to pull out right now. The next palette I have is the Jackie Aina and Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. This is a beautiful palette. I don't think this got enough love, honestly. I think that the release is that with their Norvina palettes that they came out after these just kind of shut these down. But this is the palette. It has those beautiful pretty purples. Again, similar color stores you will see, but I think these are super intense shades. This really pretty sponsored shade is like a super pretty like greeny shift. So go ahead and show you some of those. This is like a horrible place to swatch those, but you guys can see what I'm saying. Really beautiful. Also the shade on this Lithuanian is like a super grungy color, perfect for fall. Again, with those greens, this one in Douala's is also a very pretty gold. I think goes really nicely with the palette as well. So yeah, this is the Anastasia and Jackie Aina palette. Another palette that I think is also not available anymore, and also the company completely shut down. So I think I heard that they did come out with another brand, but it's just very iffy. I think that's really weird that they would, you know, just kind of do that to, I guess, like make money and like close the company down, make all their palettes like on sale or whatever, and then just come back with another brand. But this is the Blush Tribe Fall Fusion palette. This was a palette done with a lot of YouTubers here. This These people actually on the cover are also, I believe, YouTubers. I think she is. I know she is. I think it's Rocio. If I'm not mistaken, that's her name. I don't really know a lot about these people, but I kind of have the gist of the people that are in this palette. And then some of my favorite YouTubers, which I'll talk about. But you guys just see what I'm talking about. It gets those purple, again, you're gonna see a lot of similar color stories. Purples, oranges, reds, berries. The shade Paulina and the shade Angelica. These are both YouTubers. They're Swedish YouTubers, which I love. Very pigmented shades, very beautiful. The shimmers are super, super creamy. Super, super pretty. You guys can see those right there. Also, the shade here in Candlelight has a little bit of a shift. Well, I guess you can't really see it on camera, but it's like a pinky champagne color. It's really pretty. And these oranges these oranges and pumpkin and fire paint, which is like this yellowy tone, very pretty, very pigmented. I think this is a really nice formulation as well. But again, it's just a shame that this company is no longer available. But if you do have this palette in your collection, it might be a nice time to pull this one out to use it. So that is the Fall Fusion palette from Blush Tribe, which is no longer available. Another palette that I want to talk about is the Adeline Morn and Tarte palette. This is a very orangey, kind of like sunflowery vibes from ColourPop. That the new palette they came out with kind of gives me those vibes. That's why I didn't purchase that palette, even though I really wanted it for the sunflowers. But this is the Adeline Morn Tarte palette. Minus the blush and highlight, I think that this is a really similar color story. Those beautiful oranges and those yellows and those pops of like maroon shimmers, like bronzy shimmers. Go ahead and swatch some of these as well. Very pretty. That yellow was kind of like eh. So again, you get those similar shades. If you have these palettes, I think it'd be a nice time to pull this out. And the thing I like about this palette as well, it smells like vanilla. It smells so good. And again, Tarte formulation, I think is just really done nicely. You do get some hit and misses, especially with these kind of palettes like collabs and stuff. But I just enjoy this palette formulation a lot. I enjoy the shades, especially like I said, around this time. It's just when I tend to pull these out. And the last one that I think might not be available is the Disney Villains Misunderstood, but I'm not sure if it 100% is still available. But if it is, I mean, it's something nice to pick up. It's a more of a grungy tone palette. You get these super unique, like, these kind of reminds me of those, you know those milk shadows that were supposed to be like super duochrome-y, whatever. These kind of give me that vibe, and I'm really happy that I have this palette for these shades, because I don't have anything like this in my collection. This black has like a little bit of shimmer, but you see what I mean? It's like super intense dark tones. You can always do like a really nice smoky look with these tones. Just really pretty shades, I believe would look really nicely in the fall time. I mean, you can wear them anytime. I'm not saying that any of these colors are not meant to be worn anytime, because I do wear them throughout the year, but this beautiful green in Diablo, super pretty. It's like a grainy gold. The one in Pain and Panic, which is like a super bronzy shimmer. The also shade in, what's it called? Float Sam. It's like a super sheeny, like a more like of a topper, because it has that see-through. But I mean, on top of any of these shades, like for example, I'm gonna grab the shade Sing. This is that like super grungy red toned shimmer, and then I'm gonna grab Float Sam and just top it on it. I just think you can like transform these shades really nicely. It's a really nice palette. It's always good to play with color, I think, once in a while if you're not super into colorful tones. I do colorful tones more in the, you know, fall time, in the springtime. So again, this is the Disney Misunderstood palette. This is like the villain edition of the palettes from Disney ColourPop. And again, the packaging. This is my son's favorite palette, actually. Alright, so the next palette I want to go ahead and talk about, which I think is still available, is the Tartelette Toasted palette. This just gives me like, you know, those cooler months where it's like you can sit by the fire and make some s'mores. This is basically, I think, the palette that I would have under my eyes if I did that. So this is the palette. Very pretty, same thing. Has those orangey, you know, those bronze tones and this super deep brown. I need to use this palette more. This is called Fireside. So you have names like Fireside, Simmer, Flame, Sunset, Crackle, Latte, Warmth, S'more, Cashmere, Candle. So it's like all the 5 vibes right here. So it's really pretty. All right. And then the next palette I want to go ahead and show you guys is the Naked Honey palette from Urban Decay. Just gives me like tea honey vibes. Super, super pretty. Just come with a brush, which I'll just go ahead and remove just so it doesn't fall on the floor. These are the shades inside this palette. Very pretty. These like super fiery orange, amber colors, yellowy colors. Super, super pretty. This does have more of a neutral, like as far as the mattes, they're more neutral. I'll go ahead and swatch some of these for you. They're more neutral, but I do enjoy them with this palette. I think they go really nicely. It's kind of like my skin tone, but it's like a more, they're more neutral colors. The darkest shade in Sting is also a very nice, pretty brown. Very, very pretty. So, again, I get all the fall vibes. Super, super pretty palette. And I'm sure I'll be pulling this one out in the next months. Next palette, I'm going to go ahead and try to go a little bit quicker here. I have the Natasha Denona bronze palette. Again, bronzy palettes, bronzy purple oranges. Similar color stories. I love a lot of these shimmers. I know a lot of people are saying that these shimmers look the same, but I don't think they do. Like, I get the gist, but okay, so like I'll show you guys here. I don't think they look the same. Maybe it's just me because I just love her formulation. Yeah, they kind of do look the same. A lot of people are saying that there's a lot of similar shades, like especially on the lid, they would look similar. That's why a lot of people didn't really like this palette. I know Jamie Page did talk about that in one of her recent videos, that she thinks that they look a lot of the shades look the same. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch High Degree, Palladium, which is my favorite shade, and Bliss. So this is Bliss, Palladium, and High Degree. Bliss, Palladium, and High Degree. So I just think you have like a beautiful array of shimmers, topper shades you can use. They're very beautiful. It gives me, like I said, those really nice fall shades. And then again, I love Natasha Denona formulation. So far, everything that I've had from her, I love. The only palette that I kind of had a little bit of trouble with, which was that mini from Leela, but and then you have like a little bit of a purpley deeper shade here and here. So the thing with this palette, does get really dirty really fast, but then again, I love my palettes, so I don't really care. Pumpkin Spice, which is this year's release. This obviously gives me pumpkin pie vibes, like a little bit of a different color story here. I think you get more of a like berry, a little bit more muted than the pumpkin spice from last year. I'll go ahead and show you guys them next to each other. The pumpkin spice, or the gingerbread spice, I'm sorry, has a little bit more of a depth, I think, than the now pumpkin spice and gingerbread spice. So this is gingerbread spice, this is pumpkin spice. So you guys can see what I mean. This has like a little bit more of a light tone, but this one, the new one, has these beautiful greens. Go ahead and swatch them for you. The one here in Falling For You and Fall Vibes. Super, super pretty greens. I think this would look nice all over the lid. I'm excited to do a look with that. The only time I've used this color palette is to use this last row, which just kind of reminds me of that Jaclyn Hill palette that I always wanted but I never got. But I just love the looks in this, and I'm really happy. A lot of the shades are Whipped Cream, Crisp, Fall For It, Pumpkin Spice, Ginger Spice, Cocoa Drizzle, Warm and Cozy, You Spicy, Spice Baby, Want a Piece of Me, Love You a Latte, PSL, and Chill, Pumpkin Spice Latte and Chill, Spice of Life, Oh My Gourd, A La Mode, Sweetie Pie, and I just love all these shade names. They're really cute. So yeah, that's the next palette. And then I have four more palettes that I want to talk about. The next one just gives me like Halloween vibes. This is the Never Trust the Living palette from Peachy Queen. I did have another one from her, but I didn't really like how it performed. This is an indie brand. I would say I haven't really been in touch with them like on Instagram as of late, so I don't really know if they have any new releases or anything like that, so don't take my word for it. But I just think that this palette is like super, super pretty. These shades are so intense. I'll go ahead and swatch the top row here for you. I have Lydia, Ghost, Otho, Paranormal. If you guys have seen Beetlejuice, a lot of these names will seem similar to you, so let me just go ahead and clean my hand here as best as I can. So I have Lydia, Ghost, Otho, and Paranormal. Go ahead and swatch a little bit more Paranormal here. These are really, really pretty. These are super intense, super easy to work with. I'll go ahead and swatch Coach, Sandworm, Receptionist. So this one had a little bit of transfer, but you guys can see what I'm saying. They're super colorful. And then you get those deeper tones and like a little bit of those like, some of these are like super pretty, like Stepmother, Handbook, Recently Deceased, and Skeleton Key. I just think this is a really unique color story. I don't have anything quite like this in my collection, so I think these are really, really pretty. And then I have Sleazy, which is like a super highlighty shade. You can see that. Oh my god, it's like super bright, even on the camera. It looks super intense. And these are just shades you don't really have to build up a whole lot. This will be like pretty in the inner corner of your lid. And then you have some of these like really deep, like this black is super pretty in this palette. I think this is like one of the best blacks in my palettes that I have. I have 3 palettes that I have the best blacks ever. So this is one of them. And then it has these like super colorful shimmers you can use. These do have a little bit of a tackier base. You can probably see if I press down, they move. They have a little bit of a tackier base. So you can use these a little bit easier, I think, than most glitters. These are just really fun. I mean, I know not everybody likes pressed glitters. I'm not a big fan of pressed glitters, but these I don't mind as much. Like this one in Witch Doctor. Super pretty. I'm excited to do looks with these in the you know, coming months. I probably will feature this in a video upcoming. I love this palette. It makes me so happy. So, okay. Next palette I want to talk about. The next 2 palettes, which I think will be my last 2 palettes. I have one more. Okay, let's just go ahead and get this one out of the way. I'll just show it to you real quick, and this is the Natasha Metropolis. Again, orangey, grainy, you know, shimmers. I kind of want to rearrange this palette because it kind of makes me a little bit looking at it, but I do enjoy it. Like, I want to switch like these blues over and then more warm tones, and but that will be a future video probably, or like a future thing to do for me. That one, and then I also have, all right, so I have 2 here that are in my shop stash, which is the Corderosa palette from Sigma. Super pretty. Kind of gives me a little bit of Modern Renaissance vibes, which is the palette that I will be talking about next. But this is super pretty. This is in my shop stash. I'm using it right now. And then I also have what's in my eyes today is the Laura Katz Pajamas palette. Similar color story, you guys can see that. This is another black that I was talking about, guys, that is really good. I'm actually using it as my liner on my waterline and on my eye. Super pretty black. Super intense. Love those. Next palettes, these are the 2 last palettes that I'll be talking about. I have the Soft Glam and the Modern Renaissance, and if you guys just do not get fall vibes from this, I don't know what's wrong with you. I love to use these 2 shades together a lot in fall time, and then I'll just like top it with one of the shimmers or just like a matte look. Beautiful. And then the Soft Glam, which just dropped the brush. This is like a pretty, like a more bridal-y. I thought this is like a really pretty everyday fall palette, I think. And even just like throughout the year, I just think it's very beautiful. Very nice shades, very like romantic. So yeah, you guys, this is all the palettes that I will be talking about for this fall season that I'll be putting in a video. You guys will probably see me arranging my drawers around. So I think I will just include that part next after this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy me arranging my palettes. Sorry guys, I'm arranging my palettes in the next video, so just make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.